If something's in front of you, you kill it. No hiding, no waiting. You keep going.
You're listening to 89.5 The Wave, KCFD Ferguson.
Your property now belongs to Negan.
This is Dead Air.
You're gonna feel pretty stupid when you find out.
Find out what?
You're screwing with the wrong people.
That is right, you are listening to the one, the only Dead Air here on 89.5 The Wave. I'm your host, your friendly neighborhood DJ, JazzHandss, here to talk about last Sunday's very, very interesting episode of The Walking Dead. Now, unfortunately today it's just going to be little old me, which, you know what, that's okay, because sometimes I like to just sit here and convey my thoughts fully to you guys. We get to hang out, you know, just you and me. So, and then we don't get to do that quite a lot. So, like I said, we're here to talk about last Sunday's Walking Dead. Now, spoilers are abound. The episode was titled The Cell after The Well. So we had The Well, and now we have The Cell. So, as you can tell, because this episode dealt with a lot of Daryl's incarceration to the Savior stronghold. And, I mean, it makes sense. that the title totally makes sense. But I gotta say, I absolutely love the song Easy Street. I love it. I know people were getting so annoyed. I was reading tweets all over and reading comments up on Facebook like, oh my god, this song, I liked it. It was jammy. It was fun. But I digress. We're here to talk about the episode. So, kind of my overall thoughts of the episode as a whole. It was a good episode. I think so far this season, the episodes have been pretty good. I mean, we had the first strong, really good episode in, for the start of the season for episode 1 of season 7. And then episode 2 was probably one of my favorite episodes of all time. King Ezekiel was amazing. And then this episode really kind of dived into what I was speculating for a while now, that we were going to get into this whole saviors are kind of good guys. They're not all bad for the most part. We got some that were like that, then we got some that were the ruthless thugs. And it's clear that we're going to be there's going to be a dividing point within as the season goes on, or as the series goes on. We're going to get a dividing point that will separate, I guess, the good saviors from the bad saviors, so that's going to be actually really interesting to watch that unfold, especially with Negan, because I mean Negan took control. He walked by and people bow to him, which I find kind of interesting because Negan, when he walks by, he makes his men bow. And he makes his enemies bow as well. So, very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Kind of some parallels between him and King Ezekiel, where they're both viewing themselves as kings in a certain way. Negan more, I guess, sensible in certain sense. But then again, King Ezekiel was sensible too. So, but I'm finding some parallels between them, and I'm excited to kind of see where it goes. And I really want to see these two leaders meet. Again, this was a heavy Dwight episode as well. We got to see a lot of Dwight, and we got to see a lot of backstory of Dwight, which was really nice. I think we needed that because, as of right now, I think everybody hates Dwight. Everybody's like, I can't stand him. He's annoying. He shot Daryl. But in this episode, we kind of get more of the backstory to what his whole ordeals were in the apocalypse, and we get to see the full story. And so that was pretty interesting. Visually, again, it was a visually episode. The cage with the walkers was cool. We got to see a lot of Sanctuary, Negan's compound. That was a lot of fun. It was really fun to kind of watch these dark, shadowy rooms, and how some rooms, which looked to kind of be, I'm not sure where. I hope we get into the layout a little bit more, but it really does look like Negan's room is right off the prisoner's room. That's interesting. It looks like that. I could be totally wrong, and they might explain the layout a little bit better, but it looked like you walk down the hall and turn the corner, and then there's Negan's room from, where Daryl's cell was. And so that's kind of interesting, and I'm wondering where they go in, to that, and I'm wondering how many more, cells and prisoners and rooms they have that are that close, if any at all. But visually, it was fantastic. There was a cool shot of Dwight riding off, and there was like this angel with a bunch of walker hands around, and like, yeah, I thought that was pretty cool looking, the saviors. And then we had this cool, it was a really cool stunt. Granted, I have a little bit of a gripe of it, but I'm going to get to that here in a moment. I liked the whole bridge part. There was a cool bridge part where some walkers kept falling off of it because they would hear noises and just, fall to their death and splatter, and Dwight saw it, and that looked visually cool. Granted, it wasn't, like, super stunning and fun looking, like, because it was in the woods. It was still in the woods. So that's kind of my gripe with it a little bit, is that even though we get these cool looking stuff, it's still in the woods. We're still surrounded by woods, which I guess I've come to expect from Walking Dead at this point, but it would be nice to... That's the one thing where I say, well, where fear kind of edges it out a little bit, that visually fear is very stunning. And that's cool, but there's still this overlayer of, well, it's the same thing. We're still seeing the woods, and that's one gripe I have. And another gripe would have to be, I'm getting kind of tired of these death scares. These death scares are kind of... I'm getting, like when the walker fell from the bridge and landed, and it scared Dwight, and Dwight fell over, and that one walker started climbing on him and, trying to eat him. I feel that now with Walking Dead, they're trying to tell a story, but they also kind of feel, well, we have to put some walker scare in there. We have to put killing walkers in there because, if not, the fans are going to get, pissed, which I know I wouldn't. Some stuff when I see that where, oh my gosh, Dwight's in trouble, he's going to get bit by the walker, it feels very shoehorned in, which we knew he was going to be fine. They're not going to kill off Dwight this soon, and if they did, who would care? If Dwight died from that, who would really care? He shot Daryl, and he's a part of the Saviors, and as of right now, I'm an optimist, but as of right now, a lot of the fan base and everything views Dwight as a bad guy, views Negan as a bad guy. We view the Saviors as a bad group. So if any of them die and has a death scare, who cares? We want these people to die. They killed Glenn. They killed Abraham. We don't care if these characters in the Saviors live or die. So that's the one kind of real big gripe I have. I feel that they are shoehorning in these death scares, and it really didn't even propel the story forward, except they got that moment of Dwight having to walk, the one guy that escaped back in that whole scene. But other than that, like, the episode was really fun. We got, Daryl's whole part. We got to see a lot of cool visuals. We got to get some really good character development, and we got to see, we really got to see how Negan got his men how they are. And that was fun. That was really, really cool. Because it's this combination of he kind of brainwashes you with the constant music, not allowing you to sleep, not letting up on you, torture. He mentally abuses you. And so that's how he's kind of gotten people to work for him, people to work with him. He's allowed himself to both brainwash people, manipulate people by being strong, and then taking weaker people who didn't have a backbone and making them somebody better than before. And so people that haven't had power now get to be this power, and they get to be a part of this group, and they're like, okay, I'm going to go with it. So that was cool. I mean, and I like to see more of the inner workings of the Saviors, because let's face it, they're a good group. They are a fantastic group. They get stuff done. They work well together. Granted, people are running away, but it was really cool to see the Saviors' stronghold, to see the Saviors' inner workings. And overall, my overall thoughts of the episode was it was a good episode. And Dwight had one of the bigger character developments in this episode. We got a lot of character development from Dwight, and he is a very interesting and kind of complex character for me. It's clear he likes being with Negan. He likes being a part of the Saviors. Because when you watch the scenes with him in it where he's talking about the Saviors and he's talking about being with Negan and he's talking about this, that, or the other, he has this kind of weird layer of, like, pride that, yeah, I did. There's, like, the whole scene where Negan's talking to Daryl about how him and Dwight, made up, and how him and Dwight became good friends and everything, and how Dwight, went back and was like, hey, please don't kill me, we messed up. You look on Dwight's face and he has this, like, weird layer of pride. And so I really think it's this kind of, this kind of brainwashing that Negan's done to a certain extent, but Dwight seemed genuinely proud. And he went to hunt the one guy, and it's so weird because you figure out that Dwight is doing what he's doing for his ex-wife, whose name I can't remember. I don't care. But he's doing all this for her, and she's essentially Negan's wife, which is fine, it's noble. But then there's also, he's doing it for himself too. It's so weird how he is. Like, 1 minute you think, okay, he's a nice guy. He's genuinely trying to help. He's genuinely trying, to feel something, and then he kind of flips it, and it's a part of Negan. So that, and it's really cool, kind of a cool character, and I'm really interested to see where it goes. And this is kind of what I think. I think Negan was testing Dwight when he walked up and said, "Hey, you can have pick of the litter if you want to romp around with who. You're more than welcome to. You've earned it, buddy. Congratulations, you've earned it." I think that was a test. I think Negan's still testing Dwight. I think Negan doesn't trust Dwight 100%. I think he's saying, oh yeah, you worked, man. You made it up there. This is grunt work. That's grunt work. I think if Dwight was to go, okay, yeah, okay, let's do it. Let's party. Let's have fun. Let's get, Fat Joey to do it. Negan would have come down with him like a ton of bricks. So I think that was a smart move on Dwight's part. And then when we got to the part where when he killed the one guy who escaped, and who pretty much revealed almost every backstory about how Negan got into power, just about, we were happy, we were fine, so there was an established community at first, and then Negan rolled in. And, Dwight went almost, full Negan, to an extent where he's like, I won't kill you, I will kill every single person you've ever talked to. I will dig up your dead wife and feed her to the crows. Do you really want to test me? So it's like he's like trying to put this front up, and it's still, he's still like this genuinely nice guy because he killed, the guy. He put him out of his misery. Stuff hit the fan. I had to kill him. But then we see him back at the Savior stronghold. We see that guy is a walker, which because you can take it one of two ways. One, he bought him back, the dead body back. He bought the walker back, as saying, Negan, look, I couldn't save him. I bought another body for the pit. Or you could say that he's being cruel to that guy, in which I will kill you, but I want you to at least know, no matter what, you're still a part of the Saviors. You're still here, and even in death, you're going to still work for us. You're still going to work for us. And this is your punishment. And Dwight, clearly there's a lot of flip-flopping and back and forth, like I've said with Dwight in this episode. And it kind of circles all around, where even the stuff with him and Daryl, him trying to break Daryl, him trying really hard to just destroy Daryl. You see him eventually kind of get fed up, and he says to Daryl, I think he throws the picture, or he hangs the picture of Glenn's crushed head in, which I didn't think that was cruel. That was very, very cruel. But he also says to Daryl, you got somebody killed. I've got somebody killed. Stop thinking about it and move on. He's kind of right in a certain sense. I hate to say it, Daryl's keeping in what happened to Glenn inside and Abraham. He's keeping that inside. He's not dealing with it full-heartedly. And Dwight kind of saying, deal with it. Deal with it. And then showing him the picture, and then putting on that song, and then Daryl finally crying. That's letting him grieve. He's finally letting loose, and he's fully crying, and it needed to happen. Daryl, for the longest time, and we've seen him cry a couple times on the show, but for the longest time, he's always held in. Whenever there was a major death, he's always held it in. and he's never really faced it. He's always gone quiet and emo and everything like that. And this was the first time somebody said, deal with it. Deal with the problem, let it go, and move on. Because you need to. And I got a speculation too. There's a part of me that thinks like I said, so many different ways you could view Dwight in this episode, as either he's a genuinely good guy trying to help, or he's an ass. Middleman, no in between, one of two things. But when he showed Daryl, the picture of Glenn's head, Glenn's body smashed up, you could say it was cruel. You could say it was, well, this is your friend. You're gonna try to escape. You're gonna try to act tough. This is what happens. You get to sit there and eat while you view what you've done. Or Dwight knew exactly what he was doing. He gave him the picture and said, "Look at it," because I think deep down he knows Daryl's not going to break easy. He's tried and he's tried and he's tried, and Daryl's a lot more resilient than most. I think I don't know if he saw with the bat or not, but he might have heard, when Negan was going to swing the bat at him, and he didn't flinch. He didn't flinch at all. Daryl doesn't care about his life right now. He doesn't care if he lives or dies. He doesn't care about his group. He messed up royally, and honestly, I think there's a part of me. I think that Daryl doesn't want to face the group. I don't think he wants to go and face Rick. I don't think he wants to go and face Maggie. I don't think he wants to go and face any of them, because he doesn't want to have to look at the hurt he caused on them. So as of right now, his mindset is, I want to die. I want to die, just kill me. Get it over with. And so I think he's not only, helping him kind of get over it, but I think he's also fueling the fire of rage. I mean, out of everybody, he was the one that jumped up and slugged Negan in the face. So there's, fire there. There's an opportunist to attack. And so Dwight knew exactly what he was doing by showing Daryl the picture, because I really believe he's like, he doesn't care about living or dying. He's going to be perfect to try to kill Negan. By showing him this picture, it's not going to break him like it, would me, like it would somebody else. I'm pretty much gearing up a badass weapon that is going to take us down from the inside. You could look at it both ways. He was cruel, or he knew what he was doing to give Daryl that reason. And when it was all said and done, and Daryl, for the first time, didn't, go quote-unquote chameleon in a group. Because whenever Daryl meets a new group, or whenever he's kind of thrown into a new group or a new situation, he kind of adapts to survive. He's still himself, but he adapts, like with Joe's group, with the people from Alexandria, even with Merle. He kind of got like that, and this is the first time where he was in a group where he, for me at least I know, he didn't go, oh yeah, I'm Negan. No, he went, I'm Daryl. This is my identity. And I think that was because of the picture. And I it's like what Daryl said, He said to Dwight, I get why you did it. I get why you're doing it. You're protecting somebody else. Me, I can't. So I'm really excited to see where both Dwight and Daryl go as the series progresses, because they're both very interesting characters, and I'm actually really hoping that those two become friends. I hope by some weird circumstance the two of them become really good friends and they move forward. Other things that kind of just piqued my interest real quick before we're done for the day. The one chick, Dwight's wife, when she ran into Daryl, when Daryl eventually escaped and was walking and trying to get out of the compound, she said, go back. No matter what, he will do worse to you if you do this. There's no getting around it. And Daryl ignored her and walked on his way. See, I'm really wondering if she was working for Negan, if she came up to Dwight or Daryl because Negan told her to. It was a test. Negan tests people in the weirdest way. Like I said, how he tested Dwight with, hey, you want to have some fun with the old girl? Have fun with any girl that would say yes? Go for it. When Negan told Daryl, I am everywhere, I think he is everywhere. As much as I would like to say I trust what's-her-face, Dwight's ex-wife, I really believe she is still working for Negan, because Negan is everywhere. And I can see, as the episode progresses, Dwight and Daryl, or as the series progresses, I should say, Dwight and Daryl get a little bit closer, get a little bit more chummy, and then the betrayal's gonna come from what's-her-face, Dwight's ex-wife, and I could see it escalating to the point where Dwight has to kill her or Daryl kills her. And then the two, move on. When all-out war possibly starts, we're not going to know who's a soldier and who's not. So, predictions for the 90 minutes. Next episode is going to be a 90-minute episode. So, but predictions for, next episode, I think we're going to get a lot of Rick and the gang dealing with the saviors. Having to, seeing Rick step down as the leader of Alexandria. And the backlash. And I really hope we get into the gang, pissed off at Rick. I really hope we get into that, because Rick was the one that did this. Rick brought this on himself because he became a mercenary and not a survivor. And I hope the group calls him out on it. Other predictions, I know in the comics, with the first pickup, we get Carl jumps into one of Negan's vans and follows him and tries to kill him, and Negan brings him back. I think we're going to get into that. I think we're going to start seeing more sides of Negan that we haven't before. Maybe the Stockholm Syndrome, maybe like, oh man, we like him. I mean, let's face it, whenever Negan is on screen, he is amazing. Jeffrey Dean Morgan does a fantastic job as Negan. He's brilliant in his craft. Like, I loved the part where he was sitting to Daryl and he's like, oh yeah, lucky for you, Lucille's not thirsty, but I am. And you're like, oh no, he's gonna sway, he's gonna beat the hell out of Daryl. And he's like, so I'm gonna go get a drink. Later, guys. It's like, what? That's awesome. I love Negan. But I think we're gonna start seeing more sides of Negan. He's gonna bring Carl back, and I think we're gonna start seeing that Negan's not a terrible guy, but a bad guy. So I don't know. We might get into some stuff with Tara and the crew, because if it's a 90-minute episode, you can't have just the pacing. If they do it right, they could have it all just within Alexandria and flip-flopping back and forth between Negan and his group and Rick and his group and flip-flopping back and forth. But I could see us getting into Tara, because there's been speculation and rumors going around that, granted, if they were to do this, I think it would be a little bit too premature, unless we get a hint at it. People are speculating that Tara might run into another group, and people are also speculating that group might be the Whisperers. In the comics, the Whisperers are a group that wear the Walker's skin in order to camouflage themselves. People are speculating that Tara and I think Heath might run into the Whisperers, and we might get a glimpse of the Whisperers and know, oh, there's something bigger out there looming, bigger than Negan. It could work. We could be like, oh, this is the next threat. Oh my God, there's walkers that are talking. What? But again, they need to focus on Negan. We've only gotten, 3 episodes with Negan in it, and we need to have more Negan. So that could be a possibility, but I think next episode's going to be interesting. We're going to get to see, because it needs to happen, and I think we're going to get Rick bowing down quite a lot to Negan and everything like that. But either way, everybody, that's pretty much it for me. Thanks so much for tuning in. I had a blast. It's been awesome, and I will see you next week for the 90-minute episode of The Walking Dead. The review of it, anyways. So, bye, everybody.